Hello, Joyfluers. Thanks for jumping on. Quite exciting. This is rare, doing a live, a weekly one, so it's it's nice. So I'd say it's almost been a week. It's almost been a week where I've just been really feeling stuck and tired. Thanks, guys, who are jumping on. Great to see you. Yeah, I've been feeling really stuck and tired. Sort of been coming in ebbs and flows over the last week or so, and it's been interesting, just observing it and sitting with it. At times having to push through it and sort of rock up and go to work and doing my best not to snap at work colleagues when they're annoying, when I'm in the midst of feeling this. So it's interesting because obviously this is all about joy and spreading joy, and of course it's just not realistic. It's just not human at all to be in that joy state all of the time. And so a lot of the sort of teachings that I talk about, actually, when things are not so happy and joyful in our lives, how to go about being resilient through that. Now, what's been really, I guess, a little frustrating for me personally, being stuck and tired at the minute, is there hasn't sort of been a thing that I can say, well, that's it. That's the reason why I'm feeling this. And so it's like, well, if there's no logical reason behind it, then it's very easy to get ourselves into a bit of a spiral about, well, then what's wrong with me? What's going on? And it's funny because I think I've spoken to this before. I think it was in the live I called It's Okay to Not Be Okay Because Our House is on Fire, and just sort of talking about, collectively what are some of the things that can be influencing us having unpleasant feelings at the moment. So yeah, I haven't created any points to talk about specifically about this topic. I was just like, all right, I'm feeling this right now and I need to speak to that, and just honor that. And I guess what's interesting is, and I have already, I've scheduled a challenge for feeling feelings, and that's, oh God, in a week and a half. Yes, okay, on the 9th. And I will definitely speak more with prepared concepts and topics around, when we're feeling stuck and tired, what to do. For me, having these feelings over last week, I've just allowed it. I've not made it wrong. I definitely haven't tried to get away from it and sort of, go out looking for things to get away from. And something that I actually potentially is a big maybe a cause of this, is that I've really sort of become very conscious about when I'm potentially reaching for things to run away from these feelings. Okay, so that might be eating, that might be social media. I think they're sort of my two big things that I will reach for to avoid or to distract myself from what it is that's going on that I don't really want to have a clear look at. And so in creating some awareness around that, each time I go to do it, I'm like, no, okay, check in, what's really going on. And maybe what this is actually what it is that I'm just realizing this as I say it, by the way. I haven't prepared this. Is that it's just there's some stuff that's been sitting there that I have been distracting myself from that is finally getting a voice. I'm finally giving it an opportunity to be heard. Yeah, so and look, I can go through and logically make sense of what's going on. Like I've been woken up a few times during the night and then struggled to get back to sleep. So that would definitely create tiredness and crankiness. We're in our peak busy period at work and it's really under the pump. There's really tough deadlines and I'm working extra days to sort of facilitate us getting over the line on some of those things. Thanks guys who have jumped on. And so it's just interesting, and being okay with not feeling great, but not trying to fix it or run away from it either. Something that I did this morning is just went out and took the dog for a walk and just did it really deliberately and intentionally slowly, and actually, observing my environment. We're lucky here. We've got a nice reserve that's just a 5-minute walk away. That's effectively you can be standing in and feel like you're in the bush, and that's really nice. And there's a creek and there's some ducklings on there at the moment. So just taking time to observe and just feel. And I was like, wow, I'm in this beautiful spot. And what I was noticing is that it wasn't shifting anything. I wasn't then feeling better because, whatever this was sticky around and was stronger than the joy and the niceness that comes with being in nature and observing the animals in that environment. So then I just sort of sat on my couch and I had like a tea. And again, just sat with it and just be with it and observe and not make it wrong. And that was really interesting. And then what I've done, and this is probably what shifted me enough to allow me to at least jump on and talk to you about this. I don't know if, say, 15 minutes ago, I would have gone, no, I'm not really willing to share where I'm at right now. And again, that's okay. Not making that wrong. But yeah, I just chucked some music on, just some really, not pumping music, not, get excited music. No, just relaxing with some gentle movement and just move to it. And for me, what that does is quite often, not all the time, and it happened today, is with that movement, some emotion bubbled up. So then I cried, not for long, but there was there. And again, as I said, I don't have a logical explanation as to why I'm feeling this at the minute, but something needed to be expressed. And just in doing that, having a little cry, I now feel a little bit lighter, a little bit better. I'm still bloody tired. I haven't had a good night's sleep in quite a few days. So, So look, it's not necessarily a resolution, and it's definitely not about getting away from it. Okay. Another thing that I quite often use is I'll go, right, what's one quick thing that I can do that I then feel like I've achieved something? And that quite often will help me shift something. And Facebook Live was on my to-do list today. So I guess in essence, I'm doing that now as well. However, again, I might be doing that as a way to avoid and distract myself from feeling crappy. Okay, so it's a fine balance. And again, on the flip side of that, well, am I just wallowing in feeling crappy and, allowing, just full blown feel it for ages and not do any constructive movement with it, or learn from it, lean into it. Anyway, as I said, I wasn't going to go too much into it because I have got a challenge coming up where I will actually structurally talk about these sort of things. What I will sort of just wrap up with is quite often with these heavier, unpleasant emotions, when we start to trust ourselves and be willing to lean into those and feel them, work with them, quite often what happens is we start to trust ourselves and know that we'll always be okay regardless of how we feel. And that's where a lot of my emotional resilience work comes from. And what's great about that is that despite feeling stuck, tired, crappy, sad, emotional, whatever's going on, for me personally, there's actually a layer of joy underneath all of that. And that is just knowing that nothing is permanent. Yeah, I feel a little bit stuck and tired right now. It's not going to be like that forever. Because quite often when we're in it, it can sometimes feel like it's going to be like that forever, and hence where we start to spiral because we think we can't actually get out of it. Yeah, so there we go. So done a couple of things today, and the dance, the moving to music, and probably just jumping on and doing this regardless of me feeling a little bit shitty, has helped me feel a little bit better. So that's fantastic. Yeah. Sadly, I am back in the office over the next few days, so I might pop on a little message at some point and just give you an update and let you know where I'm at, how I'm feeling, if anyone's curious or cares. All right. Happy Wednesday. How is everyone feeling? Quite often these things that we go through, particularly when we haven't got real specific reasons as to why it is, sometimes we can actually be feeling things a little bit collectively. So, yeah, if anyone else is feeling stuck and tired right now, let me know. Let me know. So, but yeah, thanks for listening. I'm quite pleased that I jumped on and did this one. It's very easy to do these things when we're feeling great. And it's always a little bit more challenging when we're feeling a little bit shittier and a lot more vulnerable. Yeah, so anyway, as I said, thanks for listening, and see you later.